Hello and welcome to this other edition of the book with me, Susan Bell. And today we are receiving BAUKET Brandoline. She is a young Cameroonian, of course, studying medical laboratory sciences, fourth year at the University of Kelden. Well, today she is my guest, and she has just published a book titled Emotional Attachment versus True Love. We are going to be talking at length as far as this book is concerned. You're welcome to the set.
Thank you very much, Susan.
So, high school.
School is good.
Okay, tell me what actually pushed you to write about this very uh, special book, Emotional Attachment versus True Love.
Okay, what actually made me to write the book Emotional Attachment versus True Love is because, firstly, starting on the side of my parents, when growing up as a curious child, when my parents are having a little bit of misunderstanding, I was like, but what actually happened before these people got together? Was it actually that they were in love, or maybe something happened? So trying to understand all what was going on, I needed to approach my mom. You know, we will always approach the mom first. I needed to approach my mom, ask her, but mommy, what pushed you to get married to daddy if you people should be like regretting that I regret knowing you, this and that? And she was like, I actually loved my husband. And I was like, why did you love? Because the Bible tells us that God love does not fail. Doesn't mean that the love is different from that of God. And she was like, you're too young to understand. And I said, okay. Now, getting to the university, I met with this guy in my, back there in Sianto University Institute. So, and I started having one type of funny feelings. So I was like, not to make a mistake, not to regret in later that in the later life that why did I even get into this marriage with this guy? What am I actually feeling for this guy? So it pushed me to go into research to know more about emotional attachment and true love. And getting into it, I had to find out that there were other feelings too, which are lust, infatuation, that is crushing, and emotional attachment, which are all stepping stones to true love.
Okay. There are many who, just like you know, are in a relationship or are in a love affair, yet they don't know whether they are emotionally attached to their partners or in love with them. You say there is a big difference between emotional attachment and true love. Can you tell me the difference?
Okay, personally, I'm going to talk about two differences between an emotional attachment and true love. Firstly, an emotional attachment is self-centered. In the phase that we get into relationships just to get our emotional need met, why true love does not come from a need-based agenda. True love, everything is mutual. Secondly, emotional attachment is entangling, while true love is enhancing. If you're emotionally attached to somebody, you see that you're the one working in the relationship. You're the one working. While with true love, something mutual will be going on. Both of you will be working on each other, blending each other to be what you want the person to be. Yes.
Okay. Now that you have given us the differences, can you now tell us what this book is all about? Emotional attachment versus true love.
Okay, emotional attachment versus true love. It's all about knowing what you feel for your potential partner. If it is an emotional attachment, true love, loss, or infatuation. Because if you go into the book, you're going to see in chapter 2 that I wrote something like stages of love, starting with infatuation. Secondly, was crushing. And then thirdly, emotional attachment. And finally, true love. Yes, you need to know that true love is a multi-phase concept. That is, true love is marked by a combination of lust, infatuation, emotional attachment for you to have true love.
Well, it's time for us to take the first break on the program, which is titled The Forward. And he who wrote the foreword of your book had this to say about it. Let's watch.
Would like to highlight the fact that yes, love and human behavioral patterns is not actually something of today. It had been dealt with numerous times, but actually in the past, the focus had been on love as an emotion or a feeling, as we will term it. But here, the newness is in the fact that the order of attachment versus true love brings love in the perspective of the rationality of a reason. Love is seen as a decision, as a reason, and so love becomes rational with the emotional attachment versus true love. Each one should observe a pause and do a cross-examination of his or her relationship to be able to identify if they had fallen in love or they had decided to love. For that is actually the focus of the fourth chapter of the author of this book, calling all to actually decide to love and not actually to fall in love. Because when love is a product of a feeling, simply the adverse effect is that with time it is going to turn sour. But when it is founded on reason, it becomes long lasting. When we decide to love, the relationship stands. But when we fall in love, the relationship also will fall off sooner.
You're welcome back, and of course, you're watching the book with me, Susan Bell, and my guest is BAUKET Brandoline. She is a youth, but writing on something which is very, very important in her life: love. Many young people today, just as you have noticed, are emotionally attached, thinking that they are in love. But does this actually pose a problem? Because this is a step that leads to love.
Emotional attachment is a step that leads to love, but most people end at the level of emotional attachment because when you go into relationships today, you're going to hear people start demanding stuff like, okay, you guys have made maybe 1 month in a relationship, and the guy will be like, show me that you love me. I think you understand. Like, they want to have sex, yes. Whereas when I was giving the indicators of true love, I said love is patient. If he loved you, he could be patient and wait until you're ready. But without, with him being emotionally attached, he would just come for what he wanted, and when he gets that,
That
he
is
might
it.
leave. That's all.
Okay. 7 youth out of 10, that is my own take, will tell you that there are no guidelines and principles to prevent them from falling into a pit of emotionalism at a tender age. Can they be right after all?
Many of us today are ashamed of actually holding what holds the guidelines for how we should avoid falling into the pitfall of emotionalism, which is the Bible.
Okay.
Yes, these guidelines are all found in the Bible, but we are afraid to read the Bible in front of everybody. We are afraid that they are going to say we are too holy, we are Mary and Martha. Or better still, when somebody who knows the Bible approaches you, you'll be like, my friends will see me as a low class. They'll see me as if I know nothing. So it's good I go for fashionable people. That's what poses a problem.
Are there some Bible quotations that could serve as, as a guideline that those watching you may want to refer to?
We can talk about choosing your company wisely, which is stated in Psalms 1 verse 1 to 3. Yes, which says, "Birds of the same feathers flock together," meaning when you're with your company, that can define who you can become. That's why it's a guideline for you. You need to choose your company wisely. If not, you're going to get into the pitfall of emotionalism. Also, the same Bible says, "Do not awaken love until it is time." But today, when you approach a little child of 15 years and you want to talk about love, he'll be like, true love doesn't exist. So that's really funny. Yes, that's funny.
So you're telling us that true love exists?
Yes, true love exists. If the world exists, then it should exist.
Okay.
Starting with God's love.
Okay. You are very much concerned, about your peers who are the youth. You're drawing their attention to be very cautious enough because anytime they commit immorality, they give away their destiny to the devil. You emphasize on that so much. So try to, elaborate on that and let's understand.
Our youth need to understand that anytime you get yourself into immorality, you give off your destiny, and even go to the point of sharing even ancestral demons. So, let's take for example.
How is that? Tell me. Sharing ancestral demons.
Yes.
How?
Because one way of sharing demons is through sexual intercourse.
Yeah.
Yes. If you go to a church when deliverance is going on, you're going to see when the deliverance is going on, the person will be like, "I am the spiritual husband, this and that." I don't know that maybe the spiritual husband came from when you slept with someone. Yes.
So as you multiply the partners, that's how you're multiplying the demons.
You keep on multiplying them. Same as I stated in the book. For example, if you go and sleep with someone who is having 5 ancestral demons, both of you will share it, and it will lead to 10 for you and 10 for your partner, which poses a big problem. Many people are suffering today, not even knowing where their problem is coming from, whereas it might be coming from the people with whom they had this sexual intercourse.
Well, Brandoline, it's time for us to have the Vox Pop. We had this question to ask to the people out there. We've been finding out from them that before engaging in any relationship, what quality do they consider first in the man or in the woman? And this is what they had to say.
Engaging in a relationship with a woman, I think the first quality I deem so necessary is the fact that she should be God-fearing. Because being God-fearing, I believe many other things will fall into place. Many other qualities will fall into place. Yes, so the fact that she should be God-fearing, I consider it as the very first quality of a woman.
Today, I'm a widow. But at that time, as too young, I admired him. I saw Tom Yoms, that musician is of late, Tom Yoms. So I love Tom Yoms, the way he dressed, the way he looked, the way he was singing. And when I saw my husband, I saw Tom Yoms through my husband. So I admired the look of my husband, and that's how I accepted.
Her attitude, the way, meaning that the way she behaved in the society, and then her closeness to people, the way she interact with people, to me, that's all.
You know, before even engaging in a man, I had pleaded with God that He should give me a man who is caring, loving, who you can share your problems with. And I saw that in my husband when he came. He was just the qualities of a man I had. I found it in him. So I just fell in love with him.
I think the first thing that I look at a woman is the physical appearance. Yes, though they say a woman's quality lies but in the heart, but to me, I think the physical appearance attracts a man to a woman before we start looking at other characteristics.
You're welcome back. Let me ask you, Each time you want to get into a relationship, what do you consider first in that person? I'm talking about a love relationship. What do you consider in that person?
If I want to get into a relationship, I first of all look for somebody who understands me. That's the first one. If you understand me, you fear God, you respect me, and you're trustworthy, then we are good to go.
Okay, that's good to know. You know, most people often, uh, or most people get into relationships, and at a certain point, there are signals that this relationship is not going to go further. There are signals that this is going to be a toxic relationship, yet they engage into that relationship to probably regret later. Why is it necessary for people to stop a toxic relationship? Why is it necessary?
Firstly, you need to be honest with yourself that you need to be happy. If you don't value your happiness, then you'll probably continue the relationship. But if you value your happiness, your peace of mind, and anything good to you, then you will need to stop the relationship. And as you were saying, some people instead go into the relationship with a notion that they are going to change the person. You can't change someone. Yes, someone can change because of you, but you can't change someone. So it is very necessary to stop a toxic relationship before it arrives at the stage of marriage. Yes.
So how do we do that? You're very young, but I need to ask you, how do we do it? What are some of the little ingredients you might give to those watching you? How do we do it? Because it's easy to say, okay, I want to step back. But to do it is very difficult.
Yes,
But how do we do it?
that's the truth. The first step is always very difficult. But let me give some tips in which you can break off an unhealthy relationship. Firstly, personally, what I usually do is I like writing. I do not dream to become an author one day, but I love writing. When something hurts me, I write it down. Yes, I write it down. And you can write it, fold it, throw it, and just try to forget about it. It depends on your hobby. Or better still, you might choose something that you like and get more engaged into it than concentrating into the relationship. Also, you might ask for assistance or help from your friends and family. That does not mean that you need to push the emotional attachment or whatever to them. But at least having people around you will make you forget about what you're going through and forget about the person. Or better still, create a new cycle of friends. Yes.
Okay. When a youth is told today not to fall in love, I think that that would be too much to ask from that youth, right?
That's true. Everything today in our Android generation is all about fashion. Yes, it's all about fashion. And when you're already telling the person that do not involve yourself into fashion, it's like you're telling the person that you're not existing. Yes. And in the book, I said, do not fall in love. Yes, because anything that falls breaks. Everywhere you walk, you will hear people say, I have a heartbreak, I have a heartbreak. Yes.
It's because you fell in love.
Most of them say true love doesn't exist because they fell in love or they had some attachment and the thing went wrong and they said, love doesn't exist. So they should know that anything that falls breaks. They should rather decide to love. Because deciding to love is very different from falling in love. Yes.
Let's have this break. When we come back, we're going to continue talking about this very interesting book. Now we are taking on the shelf.
I'd like us to lastly look at the little confusion that comes up between the foreword, the preface, and the prologue. Now, it's true, these three sections are found at the initial part of a book, what we call the front matter. And generally, the preface comes after the foreword. Now that we know what the preface is, it's easier to explain what the others are. Because The foreword, the preface, as we said, is majorly has as purpose to show the author's intention behind the writing of the book. Now, the foreword is written by a third party. It's not written by the author. It's written by some one considered to be a specialist in the domain, considered to have experience in the domain, to be reputed in the themes that are highlighted in that book. And the foreword is written to play the role of kind of an endorsement, so that when you read and you find that name, you find that name or know of that person that is repeated, that is known, you know that the book carries weight. You know that the book is credible. It adds more credibility to the book you're reading or you're about to read. That's the purpose of a foreword. Now, the prologue, which comes after the preface, is generally the beginning of the narration, if I can say so. It is the introduction to the storyline, to the narrative that is about to be presented, and such that the prologue is like, I could compare it to setting the stage for one to understand the storyline that is starting. It's in the prologue that they'll introduce some characters, for example. Coming up in the narrative, they'll introduce some themes or some events that will help situate the reader on what is coming forward.
If you're just joining us, then you're watching The Book with me, Susan Bell, and my guest is Brandoline. Well, what a beautiful name. I didn't mention this at the beginning, but I find that name very, very interesting. To what extent would you like this book to impact our population or the target population? To what extent?
As many people as it can, I'll pray that the book should go really far and impact the people. Because my main reason for writing the book was not actually to make money or something. Because I can see the number of copies that I've given out are more than what I have sold. Yes. So at any extent that it can go, I'll be very happy. But let it go around the world so that youth and even elderly people will know what they actually feel for their potential partner.
Okay. Now, where is this book made available?
Okay, you can have this book by contacting the author, or better still, going to Mr. Book Bookshop at Carrefour Emia, or the English Book Bookshop at Melen. Those are the two places that you can have the book for now, even though I'm going to place the book almost everywhere in Yaoundé and even out of Yaoundé, so that it will be made available for everyone at any time.
Okay, you talked about your contacting you. What's the number?
Getting the author's number, you can have it. That's 670852189. 670852189.
Okay. I hope that with this publication, Emotional Attachment versus True Love, you were able to catch something, you were able to retain something. Speaking directly to you, the youth, be very, very careful when you engage into any relationship, because you might not know the difference between an emotional attachment and, of course, a true love. Well, what do I feel for him or for her? Well, that question, you as a youth, you don't need to ask it now. You should have a purpose first. You should fulfill your purpose first.
Exactly.
Before asking yourself that kind of a question. Thank you very much, BAUKET, for answering present today. I hope that you had a swell time on the program.
Oh, yes.
Okay. And, of course, thank you very much for watching this edition. See you some other time. Bye-bye.